All right, for real, we are back for real.
Yes.
I have to confess, I saw this little thing on my laptop this week, and I click on it. Said it's a cameo video. I thought it was something similar to StreamYard, so I click on it to work, and it was too complicated. But what it did was go and mute my mic on this thing. I just saw it now. Devil is hell. I didn't even use it, and they've already disarranged format.
Mm,
Anyway, sorry about that. Welcome to the program. We are definitely happy to have you guys. Our show today is loaded with lots of information for our people.
yes.
The more information we have, the more we can defeat our adversaries, the more we can challenge them because we know what they know.
Yes.
So, welcome. Help us to share this information. Continue to share, so that this message can get across to our brothers and sisters. My name is Mona Chimsaga, and I am here in Houston, Texas.
Thank you so much, Sister Monachi. Thank you, our viewers, and thank you for being patient with us and our technology. It's another exciting day, because we're always excited when we have to come and discuss with our people, rub minds together, and like my sister said, get more information because the more informed we are, the better equipped we are for this assignment. So please continue to help us to share, like, and subscribe. And we will join also. My name, of course, is HP. I live in Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna pull up the video of the week. Our wonderful sister is calling it out just the way it is, and it may make some people uncomfortable, but we are all about the truth. So I will pull it up in a minute. We'll make sure they won't be running an ad when it comes up.
In the continent and this Pan-Africanism, what happened in your journey that made you this way and how you are?
I think growing up in apartheid Zimbabwe, well, Rhodesia at that time, to have been surrounded by injustices of the highest order, to be abused and mistreated in your own homeland by strangers, by foreigners who don't belong there, and feel completely powerless was a very painful thing. But more importantly for me, I was raised by a father who was old enough to remember when our land was taken by the British. People are not aware that, well, some may be. Britain had what they call the Loot Law, where if you were a veteran of the First or Second World War, or just an adventurous Briton, you were guaranteed 2,000 hectares of land. Hectares. So take 2,000 times 2.2. That's almost like 4,400 hectares of land in Zimbabwe, plus any loot from the people. So what they had done was they divide the country into 4 sections, 4 regions. Region 1, good rains, good soil, perfect area to grow and farm and thrive. Region 2, pretty close to Region 1, maybe not as good, but also pretty good. Region 3 was kind of iffy, more good for cattle ranching. Region 4, nobody should live there. Infested with mosquitoes and tsetse flies and all that, and it doesn't rain. If it rains, within 30 minutes, the soil was like sand. You can't even tell that it has rained. So they set out to push Black people in Rhodesia at that time from Region 1 and 2 into, if you're lucky, you ended up in Region 3, and then, but they definitely wanted us in Region 4. And so the way they would push people up, if you were a British man who landed in Zimbabwe, they were pushing them to go to Region 1 and Region 2. You were just sent into a particular direction. You put a peg, you get on a horse, and you ride until either you or the horse got tired. You stop and you put your peg. That's day 1. The following day, you do the same thing. So it took 4 days to map up your land. And when you're finished, everything in it is yours minus the people. So they'll just go in and tell the people, in this direction, go past this mountain, in this direction, go past this river, your land is now mine. People left with whatever they could carry.
People left with whatever they can carry, and that's why we need new leaders.
Sorry.
Stand. Go ahead.
No, I said it's just horrible. It's unbelievable. It just asks who gave someone the audacity to do this type of thing to another person? How? And sometimes when you're trying to tell our people, this is what happened, this is how it happened, they will be arguing from the point of ignorance rather than go and investigate what you just heard. If you hear something that is new, that you've not heard it before, rather than arguing from the point of ignorance, my people, please go and dig, verify what you just heard. It might be strange, you understand. You've not heard it before. But don't just stand there and say, and then decide and say, come to conclusion.
Or you want to move forward and not revisit what happened.
Exactly. That's not okay. 500 years, my people, we are seated on a continent full of resources. And our people are this poor. Why are you not asking questions? Why? Why, my people? Why are you not doing investigation already, even before we come? We'll play the next video for you. Please continue to share, like, and subscribe because we'll finish this assignment. Thank you.
It is for certain a wrong, totally wrong, and we are prepared to have a debate with anybody who feels able to come to say, including Jolis Abakoba, that is misleading this bunch of, I don't know how to describe these people who are sitting on the sovereignty of the people, sitting in Abuja, the refuge camp of regional renegades they call Abuja, totally secluded from the people, sharing the blood of the people in the name of our location, in the name of governance, having, standing on the constitution that hijacked the sovereignty of the people. And the people have organized themselves in the process that will see them retrieving their sovereignty, either into a new political arrangement, that's a new union they agree completely among themselves, or unilaterally taking their portion and taking a walk. We had Professor Shoyinka talking about it only a few days ago.
When the word restructuring is bruited around, we often hear the challenge, hey, what do you mean by restructuring? Well, I don't even like the word restructuring. I prefer the expressions like reconfiguration, decentralization. Everybody can grasp that. Decentralization. And those who lead us, they recognize the necessity of it. They recognize the importance, almost the inevitability of it, until they get in power. Yes, that's the difference, until they get in power. Deconstruction, reconfiguration, decentralization, all this is necessary in order to maximize development. We speak about food hunger because it is real, but palliatives are temporary stopgap policies. They do not reach to the heart of the problem, which is one of decentralized development as massively as possible.
Professor Shoyinka did identify, even not being a lawyer, he had been involved in this process sufficiently from the days of Nadeko when he was operating as Nalicon. He became co-convener in the Pronaco that began to organize the people for how they were going to rework their union. He was a co-plaintiff with Nooro and Ojukwu in the suit that went to court to say that the 2007 and 2009 that went to court to to establish the false basis, to challenge the legitimacy of this the fraud you see in my hand. And so he's been involved sufficiently to be able to do what he did at the 50th anniversary event of Punch newspaper, where I'm talking about Soyinka now, where he was explaining to the country that Nigeria has come to where we have to either dismantle it peacefully so that people don't die, or we go to rework it wholesale. That reworking, he says, instead of talking about restructuring that nobody seems to know how to describe, that it is a reconfiguration of the union, a wholesale reconfiguration of the union, which starts with the dismantling of the bad arrangement that is not working. We have all seen it's not working. How long shall we maintain this pretense? He said reconfiguration. He also identified the fact, the people who have to do that business of that reconfiguration. It is the constituent components of Nigeria, the Yoruba, bringing their Yoruba land to federate with Ijo as Ijo that is on Ijo land, and Igbo on Igbo land, and Berom on Berom land. These are the peoples of Nigeria, not any group of people you meet in Osho, the marketplace, or the market. No, it is identify the land, because we're talking about aggregation of lands and peoples into one political union. So that arrangement that brings them together. You cannot come and fence them, from outside like the British did in 1914. You just came there without talking to any one of them. You fenced the external the boundaries, and then they called it a name and began to tell them that they are now in marriage amongst themselves. That's how we came here, and now it has injured us sufficiently, and we have organized. We who are the victims of that bad arrangement have organized. As there's no difference between the amalgamation of 1914 and the amalgamation of 1999. They were both done by fiat, with no reference to the people who are going to be federated. And so, unfortunately for the authors of this fraud, they put our signature as the authorization for this abomination, and that is what we are pulling back. And as Professor Soyinka did point out in his lecture at Punch event, that there's this, like demonic fear of, paralyzing fear that this Nigeria will break up. It is in refusing to go to discuss the union and the terms of the union that you are now providing a guarantee that the union will break up. What we are doing, what NINAS is doing, is the last opportunity those who want to have a union will have to get to that. Otherwise, right now, we have no union. The instrument that brought the union, that is keeping the union right now, has been defeated. It's dead. The National Assembly has acknowledged it by going to search for a new constitution, which they have no power to make. And so, let us be clear-minded that the only thing that can happen, like we saw in the case of Yugoslavia, they refused to discuss. It went up in smoke. Today we have Croatia and the other countries that came out from it, Macedonia, 6 countries. But we saw the festival of blood that preceded, because they refused to discuss. But we look also at the old Soviet Union. It came to where they just went back to their natural fault lines, and we have 16 countries or so, 15. We don't know what will happen to Crimea eventually, So it is in that sense that we once more invite everybody to take this opportunity of come down from our high horses, all of those who think they can keep Nigeria by brigandage. We come down from our high horses, get into a transition as quickly as we can, and go discuss those 2 questions. If we don't, by that act of refusing to, we're only saying farewell to the failed Lugadian experiment of 1914. So we come back to telling the National Assembly that no alphabet will be taken from this 1999 Constitution And if anybody would then say, oh, we are going to amend it, like we saw, I don't know who on behalf of the Bar Association of Nigeria, before Lisa Bokaba came to preach his nonsense to them, you know, the Bar Association had issued a notice inviting all the lawyers in Nigeria to please come with memorandum for how National Assembly will do amendment of everything that needs to be amended in the Constitution. The contention of Ninas, in case anybody had been deaf or dumb all this while, the contention of Ninas is simple. We have not made any constitution, full stop. We neither met, we didn't agree, nor write any. We just did not do what was alleged to have been done, which was now basis of which became basis of the instrument that has now hijacked our lives. With a 68-item exclusive list, like 68 chains. When you hear exclusive list, it is like tying somebody up or a group of people with 68 different ropes, chains. That I don't have electricity is because there's one item on that list that says only the federal government can generate and transmit to me. So they shut down my Oji River in Enugu and plunge me into darkness in Aba and Onitsha and Nnewi and everywhere in between. You can't do your highway. You can't do your port. You can't do your security. Your security. They take the asset by that exclusive list. They take the asset, economic asset. They take the power to work that asset. So the Ijaw and their oil and gas. Nigeria takes the oil and gas with that exclusive list. Nigeria takes the right to refine with that exclusive list. So they are selling, they are refining. If you take any quantity, you become a criminal. Because Nigeria, there's only one criminal in the arena. The Nigerian state that is coming to take without talking to the owners. What's the definition of robbery? Or stealing? Is when you come to take without, the consent of the owner. If Nigeria were to cease to exist today, who will be the owner of this body of waters? Who will be the owner of each of these lands? The Yoruba know the beginning and the end of their land. It's not disputed, and that is the basis of sovereignty. That's the basis of self-determination. That they are in their land unchallenged by any other group. They've not been conquered or dislodged. As it is with Yoruba, so it is with Ijaw, so it is with Igbo, so it is with Uboni, Anan, Efik, Urobo. Everybody knows their lands. And the Nigeria we're talking about is the aggregation of all these lands. The fact that the National Assembly is now setting out to go and write a new constitution is an admission of the truth that the old constitution is dead. And what that means is that right now, the business to discuss is whether the constituent components of the defunct Federation of Nigeria, because the union anchored on that constitution is out of the way. But there are still the Yoruba, there are still the Ijaw, there are still the Igbo, there are still the Ogoni clustered around here. There are still people in Abuja sharing beer and wine in the name of governing Nigeria and presiding over Nigeria and legislating for Nigeria. All that can be going on. But the serious business that has turned up to be done now, very urgently too, is to settle the question, the two questions Bola Ige raised a long time ago. Do we still want to federate? That's the peoples of Nigeria, not anybody else. And if yes, on what terms? Those are the two things that have to be settled before any other business. If those two things are not being done, I can assure you that the collapse, the death, the demise of the 1999 Constitution means that the union anchored on it is no more, and therefore the sovereignties confiscated and conscripted into that Nigerian union are now free to be taken by those who can organize themselves. Their sovereignty is inalienable. Their right to determine for themselves how they live in their space is inalienable. Combine the two and juxtapose with your dead instrument. The union, the agreement to unionize is what we call the Constitution. And we knew what we agreed upon. We agreed to be a federation. And we are no longer a federation. We agreed to be a secular state. We are no longer a secular state. Because some people imposed Sharia. Because some people, fractured that federation into what it has become, a unitary state. The other day we saw Gowon going about, talking about how beautiful things have become. But he's not looking at what is happening on the plateau, that people are being slaughtered in the manner they are being slaughtered. Why is this so? He was part of how he was at the center of, he was the one that fractured the 4 regions on the 27th of May in 1967. It was on that day, by decree number 14 of 1966, that Lieutenant Colonel Yakubu Gowon, who is still loafing around praying for Nigeria that is a criminal enterprise, praying for Nigeria that feeds on the blood of its own citizens, that it shall be well with Nigeria. That's what he's doing, 50, 60 years after the evil they created in place of the Nigeria that should have worked for everybody. And so the issue is, we are no longer a federation because somebody divided the 4 regions of the time into 12 states, took all their economic assets, all their assets and powers, handed over to an omni, that there's some kind of a fraud, an illicit federal government, because you can't have a federal government without a federation. We don't have a federation anymore. We have a country, quite all right. It is that country that is the unitary, that's become the monster that is killing people in the Middle Belt, confiscating people's assets in Lagos and Port Harcourt, making life impossible for the ones in Aba and Onitsha. Because without electricity, where do you go? Without road. I saw some people rejoicing about geometric, and then some loafers again come from somewhere to say, Southeast Development Commission. What kind of lunatics are we talking about like this? The same madmen who did not find the presence of mind to implement the reconstruction and rehabilitation and reconciliation of 1970 are now going to develop the dotting circle they created east of the Niger, the one they call Southeast. It takes being mad, it takes being out of your sense to think that you use this constitution to confiscate the sovereignty and the assets of people. Then you sit in Abuja and set up Southeast Economic, Southeast Development Commission. Has Niger Delta become El Dorado since you created Niger Delta Development Commission? That the East should now begin to rejoice. And characters like Enyinna Baribe and his co-travelers from that part were thinking that was the better thing to do. We insist that our sovereignty cannot be subjugated to anything that does not take off from our own consent. Whatever it will take, that monster that is sitting on our sovereignty and trying to come to build our road for us, build electricity for us, build our schools for us, as if we have gone lame.
As if we are handicapped. As if we are handicapped. So this video is on our Facebook page. It's actually there for you to share with brothers and sisters. If you don't understand all of these things, you will be rejoicing with your enemies. You will be dancing and praying for your enemies. But when you understand what has been done, then you're more empowered to challenge some of the things that you're hearing in the media. Mind you, the media is, what do you call it, brown paper media?
Yeah,
and
brown envelope.
Brown envelope. They don't have a paper envelope.
Yeah.
They go and
their packages. Yes.
What? Right. Please continue to help us to share and like. We are making progress, my people. We are making progress because things are happening. People are talking about the new and emerging African leaders. These are the leaders that we've been praying for, asking for, the ones that will truly represent our interests and not the interests of the colonial monsters. So the paradox of plenty in Africa, or the resource curse, referred to a situation where a country has an export-driven natural resources sector that generates large revenues for the government. They lead paradoxically to the economic stagnation and political instability. So to break it down, you have something, but it's not benefiting you. It's benefiting somebody else. The true owners are not benefiting, it's benefiting some random thing that you don't even know where it's coming from. You saw our sister, the wife of the president of Sierra Leone, telling you how they come and they take it. So celebrating independence and thinking you're free is a waste of time. So amidst the current global crisis, it is crucial to acknowledge the immense potential of emerging African leaders because they are there. They have always been there. It's just that the criminals are louder. The criminals are the ones that the colonial monsters and terrorists, if you ask me, put in place. Our good brothers and sisters that understand the need to share resources, to listen to the heartbeat of their people and make decisions based on the sufferings of their people. They have always been there, but they were overshadowed. So their role in building viable, so I'm talking about these emerging African leaders, their role in building viable and stable nations that will significantly and meaningfully contribute to the global economy will give us a beacon of hope and change. And God knows that the global economy needs people like that right now. With all the things going on, with them fighting each other, they want to start wars so they can sell their weapons, and now we're here as if we are all on drugs. We don't know what people are doing when we should be building. It's time for Africa to develop, and they want to start war. So these are our new leaders that we are talking about. They will not only recognize the setbacks of the transatlantic slave trade, colonialism, and neo-colonialism on Africans, but they will join us in the current push by the indigenous ethnic nationalities, such as the one we are promoting, to end this imposed colonial imperial systems and structures in Africa. So today we'll explore some significant changes and or challenges and analyze the traits and characteristics of upcoming leaders. We'll have plenty of them to give you so that you can begin to look for them. So they will not deceive us with their fluent use of English. They know how to speak. All the criminals, they know how to speak. That's how they become people. That's why they trick people and take things that doesn't belong to them, because they can speak. So in addition, we will shed light on certain African societies, such as Alibo, where we come from, where the people elect their leaders, and we'll continue to educate Africans on the significance of working with leaders who comprehend and uphold the principles of self-determination and genuine democracy in Africa. Not the one that a movie star from America will come and get paid to tell you on TV, go and vote in election, Nigerian election. They will come and dance for you and do all these things. And your president will be incontinent, peeing on himself. And yet they are being pushed to represent you. After they've done the 3 interviews in the Chatham House, they go and get visits. If you get another call, that means you're a potential person. That's why you guys saw Peter be driving there with a taxi driver that he was promoting. So they will go there for their first interview because the damn place belongs to them. So you can't just show up from any place and want to be the president. No, they have to allow you to even participate. So you go for multiple interviews. If you get up to the 3rd interview, you're likely to be a candidate. So we know the games that they've been playing, and it's up to you, the citizens, to know as well. So we'll continue with the rest of our show while my sister adds continue to help us to share and like.
Continue to help us to share, like, please. Yes, you're part of this work, like we keep reminding you, so that you understand your place. Even if you don't understand yet, the details, the basic is very clear. The land of your ancestors belong to you, and you have the right to live there, manage resources on those lands, use them to take care of your people, and then sell it to whoever you want to sell it to, and then use the money to take care of your people. These are human rights, basic rights. Self-determination is a basic right. You don't need anybody's permission to exercise it. So if you don't understand anything that we've been saying, understand that your power belongs to you. Sovereignty is tied to your land, and it's not only in Africa, it's all over the world. That's how the Englishman is living in England, just like Igbo man and Igbo woman is living in Igbo land. So if you have to get visa to go to England, it means you're not indigenous there. And if you have to get there and be like a stranger, it means it doesn't belong to you. Why then is it that your land, you are not able to manage the resources on your own land by yourself and decide who comes and who goes? That is self-determination. So the white man already had self-determination all these years. You. Don't allow anybody to bamboozle you with any religion, be it Islam, be it Christianity, even traditional worship, to make you not to critically think about the things that you should think about, especially when you have children in this world that needs to be taken care of. We're talking about new and emerging African leaders, the leaders that will stand by their people, work with their people, not working for the enemy. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. Yes, the new and emerging African leaders, like we said, they have always been there. We need to allow them to rise and take their rightful position. These people running the world, you guys can see they don't know what they're doing. All they're doing is causing conflict every chance they get. All they do is creating war and trying to get everybody else to get involved so they can make more money, because the ones that they took for 500 years is not enough for them. So it's about time for us to wake up. So we're going to look at our objectives for today. The first thing on the agenda is to look at fundamental setback under these colonial terrorist structures. We are going to look at the attributes and qualities of emerging African leaders. And this is important because for the longest time, they had told us that if you see them speaking Queen's English, fluent English, that they are the ones, only for us to find out that they are not. Nothing is happening. They would even allow them to run their dog company business. The same standard they're telling us to use, they wouldn't even allow these so-called leaders to run their stuff. And whenever they do, you will be getting direct instructions from them on how you're going to proceed. And the ones that don't speak. By the way, this is I'll finish the objectives. So we're going to look at immediate and far-reaching implications of this new Africa that we're talking about, and then we'll look at some take-home points and end with Nina's point agenda as well as announcement. So it's very important that we call these things out, because for years, these English-speaking monsters that is in cahoots with the colonial monsters, they've been tricking our people. The fact that they can command English. If any one of you can go back and look at those people, they were really smart back in the days, and the villagers contributed money and sent them overseas. Most of the time when they came back, they weren't normal anymore. They were acting weird. And some of you thought like, oh, it was a tea they drank in London that made them turn into something else. Some of them are saying, oh, they are doing well. You guys knew something was off. And we saw them not accomplish anything. These are our people that would have done wonders in our land. We sent them to Oxford. When they came back, they became Ox and Ford, 2 in 1. We've been tricked about the use of English language. So it's important for us to understand the use of English language does not denote intelligence at all.
Nope.
Just a form of communication. So when you go to London or UK, because they're indigenous, they will speak English. By the way, even the mad people there and the Obi people, Obi means people dumb and deaf. Some of them speaks their own language because that's what you hear all day. The same thing when you come to Igbo land, me as an Igbo woman will speak Igbo. So because I'm not able to speak Queen's language, that's why in the China Gemuni, everywhere they go, they speak cha 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 cha, and whoever will translate.
Yeah.
So we need to acknowledge that much, please, so that anybody with their good command of English will not come and deceive you. I've seen all of them. They are not commanding anything. They are commanding stupidity.
They can't critically think. They goof around them every minute. Every opportunity you give them, they just goof.
Right?
Because all they can do is speak English.
All they can do is speak English.
And then our people now think that
they are smart.
Command
No.
of English, yes, is
No.
Our
brothers that can start with proverbs and all these things, they are well off than these people that can, especially our people that are speaking English. That's the worst one. Our people that have left their language and now speaking Queen's English.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with that. Identity crisis is
They
going on.
can't, yeah. We discuss with them, they can't really articulate things properly. If there's a problem on the table and you say, what do you think? When they start talking, all they do is just speak fum, nothing concrete.
They speak food here. That's why you will tell a man there's a problem in the village. He said, let's get infrared camera. When there's no camera, there's not even a light in the village. That's what happens when you go to Oxford. God help us. Anyway, let's continue. Of course, we have to remind you guys once again that you are in the Osman Danfodio estate. And as long as you're there, nothing will be happening for you. So you will wake up one day, there's a new rule that will affect you massively, and nobody will come to your aid. You can even be bragging online that you know Jesus Christ of Nazareth, only for you to be picked up and Jesus is nowhere to be found. It can only happen in the place called Nigeria. The sooner you take over your spaces and take command of your spaces, that's the one thing you want to command, not commanding English. Command your spaces.
Yes.
Then you will be in a better position to challenge your enemies. So let's look at the fundamental setbacks under these colonial structures. We have mentioned some of them. We know that when they left, they implemented the puppet leadership that will continue their obedience. They have unworkable constitution and illegitimate government that they impose on our people to make sure that indigenous people remain enslaved. That's what they left. That's why you can never get your president without them going to visit them. That's why somebody will come out and say, oh, it's my turn. Oh, it's my turn, because you already met with them. They say, okay, bring the money, bring the person. When you finish, it will be your turn. So he boldly was blasting it everywhere he goes. That is his turn. The owners of the project called Nigeria said it's my turn. So it's my turn. So when they paid somebody else to come and distract you and tell you there's a mandate, we are going to recover our mandate, only for you to go to court. He doesn't want to recover anymore. He will tell you, oh, this is like a soccer, yo. This is like a Manchester versus, what is the other ball? Manchester versus and then more Chelsea. This is them playing. So when you lose, you go home. He has been paid, y'all.
Yeah, do you know, I heard that he didn't even he didn't come with any evidence. Even to come.
Are you kidding me? When they were saying eyes on justice, eyes on their private parts, eyes on them, they didn't bring with it. He didn't come with any evidence.
No evidence of malpractice, because he didn't give shishi to those that have the evidence. Those that worked for him and got the evidence. I heard he refused to pay them shishi, and they kept the evidence to themselves. And people are behind shouting, yes, this. Who told you people? These people are paid to distract you. We're not saying it because we just want to talk. If you think that what we're saying is not right, go and do your investigation and then counter what we're saying. It's obvious.
I am dumbfounded, my dear. All this mandate going on. So you're telling me he didn't bring any evidence to the courts?
No, it was just a one, John a watching. Just po, and then you come out, you tell people trash, and our people are not able to go and investigate. Even the journalists in their midst, people that call themselves journalists, when you hear something, rather than go to investigate, research, get evidence, be sure of what you're saying. Don't just talk because you feel like talking. No, you just go, lazy journalism. Go online, social media. If you see people doing TikTok, you just take information there, and then that's the paper you're writing for our people to read. Miseducating our people, misinforming our people. You see, you are part of the problem.
So we're talking about fundamental setbacks under these colonial structures. Our native people were disposed of their ancestral lands, assets and resources, and criminals posed and became the new owners. You saw our sister give you an example how they will take a horse and ride for 4 days in a row. So as long as their horse's eyes can see, that's what they're going to take from you. They begin to own oil blocks. That's why you come to a place where people are hungry, and the guy called Danjuma is so rich. He didn't invent anything. He didn't even go to the so-called Ivy League school. Where did he get all the money? Because they swallowed all the resources of the people inside their stomach.
Yes.
And we are watching them. And God is keeping them here for those of you who will say to give them long rope. How about we give them a short rope? Why does it have to be long?
My dad, they only have long rope because the people have remained ignorant. And God said, my people perished for lack of information. Your ignorance is what is giving them long rope, not God. If you like calling God when it's not God. He did not give any criminal any long rope, anything. You are supposed to bring criminals to book and judge them. That's what happens in a working society. In US, when there's a criminal, you take the criminal to court, judge them, and then pass judgment and cut the rope. It's only in Africa you hear all those negative scriptures that they manipulated and turned upside down. Quoting scripture out of context. You pick one verse, you just throw it out for people that refuse to read the scripture. I'll keep saying it. If you must be a Christian, go and read that your Bible in and out. Go, take inside, go inside, read it very well, so that you will not come out and be telling us telling us things that do not make sense, because we have read it. Yes, that's why we cannot be bamboozled, not by your criminal pastors, not by your all those people that are busy selling you people and doing whatever. You'll be all, if you want, you can be all emotional and sentimental. We don't care. We are here to speak the truth, and we will continue to speak the truth.
And the truth we will speak.
Yes.
So under this fraudulent constitution and constitutional arrangements, leaders with proven credibility, character, competence, capacity, and compassion will never emerge to leaders. They will come out and pay the man with one watch. The man that lost his voice, and one taxi driver took him to Chatham House, and now he's so simple. He took a taxi to Chatham House. He's such a simple guy. All in the name of distracting our people. All in the name of playing the role of Judas goat. You take our people to the slaughterhouse, you get rewarded with a beautiful home in London. Your children don't even live in the place that you're trying to represent. They are living their life in the so-called UK, the owners of the enterprise called Nigeria. We know that these people combine forces of transatlantic slave trade, colonialism, neocolonialism, and they will even add extreme Islamism just to make sure our people don't move forward. In addition to their whitewashed Christianity, they use to get our people not to be able to move forward. Everything has been bastardized. Everything has been bastardized. Everything is upside down when it comes to us. Even when you work for them, you're still not good enough. You're still not good enough. So the need for new and emerging African leaders, like we said, they have always been there. They have always been there. All right, I'll allow my sister to speak.
Yes, our people, the power of vision. We are trying to bring you up where your eyes can open, and then you can see your tomorrow. The new and truly emancipated African nations. This is possible. This is doable. This is achievable. Open your eyes and look. You will see that it's possible. We can do this, people. There's power in having vision and then working towards it. So we'll get over to attributes and qualities of emerging African leaders. Attributes and qualities of emerging African leaders. These new and emerging African leaders we're talking about, what are their attributes? What qualities? Because you need to know who they are. You need to recognize them when you see them. Please, Sister Mona, the next slide. You need to know them. These are leaders who understand that land and power belong to the people. Sister Mona, please, the slide is not moving. Hello, can you hear me? Sister Mona. The slideshow is not showing. Okay. So these leaders understand that the land and power belong to the people, and that the people's sovereignty is tied to their ancestral lands. Of course, we know that just this thing I said are the tenets of self-determination and true democracy. So if anybody telling you, oh, democracy, and has refused to allow you to have sovereignty over your land, decide what happens on it and what happened with your resources, that person is not talking about democracy. He's talking about demon crazy. So please do not allow anyone to deceive you with these words they threw around. That's why we come here to share and break it down so that we understand what is being discussed. So it can be part of the discussion, can be part of the conversation going on, and you contribute meaningfully to it. The emerging leaders, we're talking about their attributes. These people accept that leaders are made by the people, not the other way around. The people are not working for the leaders. The leaders are working for the people because they are meant to represent to the people. So the people are the ones that will tell them what they will do, and then they will do it. That is what democracy is. That is what self-determination is. These leaders we're talking about recognize the setback of the transatlantic slave trade, the setback of colonialism, the setback of neo-colonialism on Africans, and then also on the indigenous ethnic nationalities. And they seek to undo all, not half, not one, not the other one. No, not let's leave it. It happened in the past. No. We have seen that what happens to you today will determine how your future will be. So you cannot afford to say something happened in the past, let's leave it. The people that colonize you do not operate like that. Those people that you're killing people and selling your land to buy their visa to go and visit them, that's not how they built their society. They did not build their society by suffering amnesia. We are talking about emerging leaders. So these leaders are willing to join in the current push, like my sister said earlier on, by the African indigenous ethnic nationalities to end all imposed colonial and imperial systems and structures in Africa. We'll give you an example. The 1884-85 conference, Berlin Conference boundaries. Those fake entities they created, they take Igbo, they add Hausa, they take Yoruba, mix it, Ngwongwo, Gwarakoya, give it a name. And then when the people are fighting, they say, oh, African, they're always fighting. These tribes, they're fighting. We are not tribes, we are nations. We were nations before you came. Another example of colonial structure is, and system, is 1914 forced amalgamation of Nigeria. It was forced. Nobody discussed with the people. They imposed it on the people because they had ammunition to do that. Another one is the 1999 Colonial Unitary Constitution, which is a continuation of the first amalgamation, dispossessing the people, the peoples, of their sovereignty, their rights, and everything that they ought to manage. That wasn't what they had in mind when they say, okay, let's build a nation. So we're talking about the emerging leaders, their attributes. They are very knowledgeable about the importance of justice, equity, and fairness among all humans. They understand what it means. That without these things, the society cannot be a livable society. A society that does not uphold justice, equity, and fairness, there will be crime rates very high. Because that's not how to operate. These people are willing to accept the concept of sanctity of life and equality of all men. Because if you understand and embrace the concept of sanctity of life and equality of all men, all wars and crises will end. Because no one is superior to the other. That you go and just jump up and start massacring people in the name of whatever. Be it your religion, stupid religion, be it your politics, be it anything that will make you to take away the life of another man or another woman, another child, it is not worth it. We are talking about leaders that will understand that human beings are not chickens or cows or goats that you just massacre on a daily basis, and people are moving on with their lives as if nothing is going on. We are talking about leaders that will understand and embrace the concepts of sanctity of life. We are talking about emerging African leaders. These people understand the negative impacts of extreme Islamism, Arabization. Yes, extreme Islamism is not anything bringing you close to God. It's the conquer of Arab nations on your land. That's what it is.
That's all it signifies.
That's what it is. These people understand the impact of terrorism. They understand the negative impact of whitewashed Christianity, whitewashed Christendom, the one we call Church of Rome, the one that preaches white supremacy. You can see all the discussion going on. Some people say, I don't want to know the color of God. I don't want to know the color of Yeshua. I don't want to know the color of Messiah. I just want to be a human being. You see what we're saying? Why the Bible said that people perish for lack of knowledge. Because if you don't know your shepherd, you don't know the voice, you don't know the nature, you don't know the identity, how do you follow him? How are you able to differentiate him from those that came to steal, kill, destroy?
I know. They can go a little to the left and a little to the right.
Okay. We are telling you that scriptures were manipulated to colonize you and steal your resources, even the resources in your brain, so that they can take the information inside your brain. So what you have, if you embrace this white Christianity, this whitewashed Christianity, what you have in your head is not brain, you have pap. Akamu. Akamu is what is inside your brain. So begin to remove the akamu that the whitewashed Christianity has put inside your head, so that you will see whether we can bring in brain, oboro, into it. The brain that can function. The paradox of Africa being one of the richest continents, if not the richest, while Africans are the most deprived, dejected, and humiliated human beings on earth, will be a major concern to this type of leaders we're talking about. And they will totally say this is unacceptable. And they will work towards it so that Africa will be for Africans. African resources will be for African children. Africa will not be full of resources while African children go to bed hungry. These leaders will not worship other races or think that other races are superior to their own people and are more deserving of good life than Africans. These leaders will be willing to stand with the indigenous ethnic peoples of Africa so that we can get back what is rightfully theirs. We're talking about leaders, the emerging leaders, their attributes. These people know the effects of false democracy and unjust international diplomacy, unjust policies, unjust politics on African countries. Africa is supposed to be for Africans. But if Africa is no more for Africans, then something is wrong somewhere. These leaders, we understand that there's a game that was played. They will understand it. And not just understand it, but they will seek to undo it. These people are the people that understand that responsible governance and accountable leadership are not possible under the colonial imperial structures and constitutional arrangements imposed on Africans. And if these fundamental issues and setbacks are not tackled head-on, leaders with proven credibility, character, competence will never emerge to guide Africa to a brighter future. They're making this reference to P2B. He needs to be schooled on this because he thinks that from the blues, this type of leaders will appear. No. These people, even Jesus Christ, will not make Nigeria to be okay if these fundamental issues are not taken care of. Stop deceiving the people. Stop throwing around all these animal farm statistics, our brother Tony will say, and just talking because you feel like talking. These leaders are willing to openly declare that the only thing that will transition Africa from its current state of underdevelopment to a higher level of prosperity is immediate and complete decolonization. We're talking about the leaders that will take Africans to the next level. They are willing not only to acknowledge, but also they are ready and wholeheartedly ready to embrace the potential of nurturing and supporting other emerging leaders, the so-called leaders of tomorrow. That is, these type of leaders are not going to be leading in perpetuity. The new leaders emerging from Africa are those with vision, passion, commitment to their own people. They will become the beacon of hope that can drive change and propel their nations and their people and the entire Africa forward. So as we navigate through our current unprecedented challenges, these emerging leaders of Africa who have the potential for transformation and advancement are more willing than their predecessors to champion our collective cause rather than their personal goals and ambitions. We are talking about new emerging African leaders. These leaders, they have, as Africa has immense potentials waiting to be unlocked. Hence the need to empower and entrust capable and honest individuals whose leadership responsibilities show through their willingness to respect the will of their own people. They do not impose their will on their people, but they respect the will of their people. These people, if you bring it down to the issue in Nigeria, they are not the ones, they will not be talking about bogus restructuring of Nigeria or anything under the control of National Assembly or that National Assembly will make the decision, become the decision maker for the people. No, that's the old way of thinking. That's for the old African leaders that ruined Africa. People like Obasanjo, Gowon, all of them. That's the old school. We are talking about new African leaders. These ones will demand for renegotiation of Nigeria, since sovereignty belongs to indigenous ethnic nations. These people will avoid the trap of bogus restructuring and lead the people into renegotiating Nigeria, because renegotiating Nigeria is safer than restructuring Nigeria. What's the difference? To renegotiate Nigeria means deep fundamental change with sovereignty restoration. That's what renegotiation of Nigeria means. But restructuring that you're hearing these old African leaders throw around, it means surface cosmetic change. And the immigrant settler, the Fulani, the Caliphate, will continue their conquest agenda and domination over the people, over Hausa land, over Yoruba, over all these people, massacring people and destroying them. So you see the difference. So these emerging leaders, we understand this. Overcoming white Arab supremacy, because that is what colonialism and all these things, that's what it's all about. And we want to decolonize, and Ninas is leading the way. Do I continue?
Yes, go ahead. I'm doing something.
Okay. So we go to immediate and far-reaching implications of this new Africa, because we'll tell you and then we'll give you the details of what's going to happen. So in this new Africa that we're talking about, that we're talking about these emerging leaders, because the new and emerging leaders will mean new nations, new Africa. this new Africa will be completely decolonized and emancipated. We are not going to be puppets anywhere. We are not going to be going to Chatham House to beg them, do we lead or do we not lead? Our lead, we will cut the umbilical cord. That umbilical cord tying us to the colonial monsters will be severed. That's when you know that you are free. That's when you know that it's independent. Just like you see in Niger, and they're cutting the umbilical colonial cord from France. And those ones are shouting and crying. If you don't cut that umbilical cord, you have not started. So the new Africa will be the Africa that will be able to unlock Africa's vast potential and harnessing its youthful population talents, creativity, innovation, leading to rapid and sustainable development. That's what we're talking about. That's the type of Africa we're talking about, where younger individuals will be able to take on leadership roles. We are talking about Africa fostering economic growth and stability on the continent. That's the type of Africa we're talking about. The Africa, as Africa is blessed with abundant natural resources. Africa is blessed with thriving youth population and untapped markets, all of which are critical ingredients for economic advancement. We already have them already. The new Africa, in the new Africa, will be harnessing these resources effectively and efficiently in order to stimulate innovation, entrepreneurial, investment opportunities that will accelerate economic growth and create jobs for our people. We are able to do this. Anybody telling you that we are not able is a liar. We are talking about the new Africa. We are talking about the immediate and the far-reaching implications of this new Africa that we're talking about. This new Africa will foster inclusive and sustainable development. The new Africans, new African leaders, new nations in Africa that we're talking about, we bring fresh perspectives, innovative ideas, and a deep understanding of local content, which are essential for crafting policies and strategies that address the needs and aspirations of diverse communities. We're already diverse. We know that. But we have what it takes to live a good life, even as diverse as we are. Only that our fundamental issues need to be taken care of. The constitutional arrangement must be such that everyone will be included in decision-making and the management of the resources. People will manage their resources and have a say on how they live. That's what self-determinates. You will self-determinate. You will say how you want to live. Another person will not come and tell you how to live. So this new Africa will have inclusive development, which ensures that no one is left behind, creating opportunities for all citizens to participate in and benefit from their nation's economic progress. It's not the one that say oil is coming, we are bringing the money. Then few people are swallowing it into their stomach and you see them walking like elephants, ibwagam, 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 while people are slimming down and being like rope. The rest of the citizens are so hungry, looking and dejected, while they are swallowing up, marrying 5 wives and having 50 children. Empowering emerging African leaders is very vital for enhancing Africa's integration into global economy. In an increasingly interconnected world, collaboration and cooperation among nations are essential for addressing shared challenges and seizing growth opportunities, because we must grow. If you are alive, you must grow. These new African leaders and nations will be well equipped and empowered to engage with the global community and can leverage international partnerships, trade agreements, and investment opportunities to drive economic transformation and enhance Africans' competitiveness on the global stage. Additionally, empowering emerging African leaders is critical for promoting resilience and adaptation in the face of increasing crises, such as current global pandemic. Effective leadership is not just about navigating challenges, but also about mobilizing resources and implementing strategies that mitigate and impact in the crisis of the economies and societies. So it's not just that you manage to navigate through the challenges, but as the challenges come, you will know how to manage the challenges so that the impact will not be negative on the people, and rather you bring something positive out of it. But you have to have brain to be able to do that. And it can only come from people that have a different spirit. If you go to the Bible, he said God had to stop the Israelites when they were coming from Egypt. He said, no, people don't have the right spirit to enter the promised land. He said it's only two, Caleb and Joshua. He said, in these two men, I found a different spirit in them. Because of that different spirit, they will enter the land. But the rest of you, I'm killing all of you. If it will take me 40 years, I'll wipe all of you out. We're talking about having the right spirit to enter and use what is in the land. By investing in leadership development and capacity building initiatives, these new African leaders and their nations will cultivate a new generation of leaders who are not just equipped to lead their countries through crisis, but also to innovate and adapt, emerging stronger in
On the other
the
side.
other side. So it's very important. Not that, oh, there's crisis, there are crises. If you have the type of leader we're talking about, these leaders, we know how to navigate, we know how to innovate, we know how to change things around, then adapt to the situation. If you know, you will know how to do it, and then carefully move your people. And the other side, when they get there, life is better. Not just everybody shouting. We are shouting, leaders are shouting, everybody is crying, Ewuchimo, Ewuchimo, like we don't know what is going on. No. Africa is so blessed that we cannot allow ourselves for morons to be in charge of our destiny. We must change the foundation. We must change the foundation. The fundamental issues must be taken care of so that we can have the type of leaders that we deserve and have the type of life that we deserve. We do deserve a good life. Thank you.
Yes, so we do deserve I deserve a good life. I don't know about you guys. I definitely deserve a good life, and it starts with good leaders. So let's take us some look at some take-home points. Ninas has been a godsend that anybody can. I mean, we cannot appreciate the work that's been done on your behalf until later on. So Nina's decolonization strategies will help Africans and African nations to overcome all these things that we have mentioned before, the white Arab supremacy, the poverty, the terrorism, and the insecurities that we see in our land. All these things are man-made. It didn't come from heaven. All these things are man-made because they are benefiting from it. It will help to empower and guide the emerging African leaders. This is not just a moral imperative, but a strategic imperative with profound implications for the future of Africa as well as the global economy. So, as we strive to build a more prosperous, inclusive, and sustainable world, let us recognize the immense potential of African emerging leaders and nations. So help us to give this to the people running the affairs of humanity, the one that have been in charge for 500 years. And every time they want money, they squeeze OPEC so that gas prices will go up, everything will go up. Every time they want money, they go and throw missile in the middle of somebody's bedroom. We must provide them with support. We're talking about these emerging African leaders, resources and opportunities they need to realize our collective vision as we drive a people-oriented positive change. And that's what will save humanity. When we think about all of us, not some of us, when we consider all of us, not some of us, we'll be able to make a bigger impact and progress and actually move the world forward. So Africa has a huge role to play in moving the world forward in a positive way, not the ones that will take our resources and lower the standard for us while they're living in affluence. People can't even drink clean water. Of course, we cannot end without our Nina's proposition. We are waiting for you guys to come on with the transition. Come on with the transition. That's where we are. If you want to go all the way to the new constitutional order, you come up with the transition. Stop supporting amendment to a fraudulent document because you're a criminal. When you have been told that the paper is fraudulent, we did not make this. You in your criminal mind, oh, I forgot, benefiting from one Nigeria, you want to go and amend a constitution that we did not write. We always insist on transitioning so that the constituent people of Nigeria will work out what they want for themselves. And we'll end with the announcement. Spotlight on our wisdom of ancestors. Man, we are still coming up with that. Our ancestors are sending signals. We're trying to wrap them all up and deliver a punch at some point. Our sister is constantly on Spotify and Clubhouse, ever giving information for you to know what to do, to arm you with enough information so that you're not speaking as if you're in motor park and beer parlor conversation. When you deliver one punch, all your enemies will run. This is the information that you need. She also writes an article every week, a wonderful article, delineating line by line things that you need to know about this place that you call home, that you call Nigeria. And on Tuesday is our Twitter day. And of course, if you want to learn more, ninasvoice.org. Our website is deardaughtersoftrue.org. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. We are on Instagram. Still, please say we are on TikTok. I'm yet to transition over there too. So we also on TikTok. As a matter of fact, the TikTok video does better than all the videos because the criminals have not choked it yet. And of course, like we said, we have to end with transition now. And we want to say thank you. Thank you for being part of this process. Thank you for showing up every Saturday, even when it's not convenient. We do want you to know that you are a stakeholder in what you're doing. We have to do some work. You have to do some work for us to graduate at some point, right? So I'm glad that we are doing the work and not thinking there's somebody else doing it. So be part of what we're doing. There's plenty of information. We are ever available to come and talk to your boys group, the boys association group, the Ogaranya group, whatever group that you are, and you want to know more about what we are doing. We are definitely available to make that happen. Until next week, brothers and sisters, take care and please help us to share this information as much as you can. We appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Bye.